Hi everyone, and welcome to our teaching and learning video for this week. It's another one in our questioning series, and this week we're going to be having a look at probing questions. So to actually get to the origins of these probing questions, we're going to go back a little bit in time to the ancient Greek civilization, where we find Socrates. Now, Socrates actually believed that disciplined and thoughtful questioning enabled the student to logically examine and validate ideas. And what that really means is that basically what Socrates would do was he'd wander around, he'd question his students so that they would actually think through an issue until they eventually reached a conclusion themselves. So he wasn't just there supplying all these amazing answers, he didn't claim to have all the answers, he just asked enough questions to get those students to reach their own conclusions themselves. And this then ties into a technique called Socratic questioning. And the whole idea behind this, and we use this all the time in actual education today, is that it promotes that independent, higher level thinking in our students, the kind of holy grail that we're all searching for there. The fact that they are able to think things through on their own and to a good level of understanding. The reason this matters is because it does give them ownership of what they're learning through that discussion, debate, evaluation and analysis. And what we need to be able to do through our questioning technique is basically guide them in this, not let them get away with this little basic answer they do like to give us most of the time. So there are 6 key groups of questions that we can divide this up into. First one are the clarification questions. And I've given you some examples here so that when they actually give you an answer, you just follow it up with, why do you say that? What do you mean by? How does this relate to our discussion? So we're getting them to clarify the answer they've just given. So therefore they're having to go a bit deeper and a bit further. The second category are the assumption questions. So this is where we're going to ask them why someone would be making that assumption. What could be assumed instead? Do they agree or disagree with it? How could we verify or disprove that assumption that's made? What's it even just based on? So we're getting them then to look at this assumption that's been made and again, dig deeper. Think about what they're actually basing this assumption on. Is it good? Is it bad? How could we get more evidence for it? Category number 3 are the probing questions. So this is where we're asking them to give us an example of something or why something might happen. So what could be the cause of it? What support could we give to something? Is there any reason to doubt that evidence? Again, the idea behind these is we're digging that a little bit deeper, getting to think that a little bit further about whatever statement they've just made. Category 4, the implication and consequence questions. So you can start off with some real simple things. What generalizations can we make? If we've made this assumption, what's the consequence of that? Or even if they've said something, what are they implying with the statement they've just made? Get them thinking about it in a deeper way. Fifth category, the viewpoint and perspective questions. So if we've got an answer, what would be an alternative? What's another way to look at that? Why is, whatever, the best way to look at it? And then get them to analyse it a bit deeper. What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? Can anyone offer a counter argument? So what we're getting them to do here is we've presented one answer, but are there others? Is this the final answer and is it the best answer? If not, why not? Let's dig. The 6th and final category are questioning the questions. And this is where we're actually thinking about the questions that are being asked. Why is that question important? Why did we actually ask that question in the first place? What does a particular part of it mean? And even where we're looking at some of these students that love to ask us this question, how does something apply to their everyday life? How could whatever we're teaching them link into their everyday existence? So the idea behind all of these Socratic questions is getting them to dig deeper, not just accepting these very surface level answers where they might just be able to regurgitate a fact, but get them to explain it more, to think about the positives, the negatives, and using our questioning skills to really probe to make sure we get the most from them, and we're developing those higher level thinking skills. We're teaching them how to actually critique what it is that they're doing and saying so that they do have a greater depth of understanding.